The story is about a woman who witnesses the massacre of her entire family. To seek revenge, she pretends to be a maid in her enemy's household to kill the man responsible. At the beginning of the story, we see a girl named Chun crying as she discovers the dead bodies of her clan members, including her own father. Before dying, her father gives her a seal and asks her to return to the governor's family, where she is supposed to be married soon. Soon after, a military officer named Zhang arrives with his men. Chun attacks him to avenge her father's death. However, the man has no intention of harming Chun. Instead, he takes her to his house. At the same time, one of Chen's servants, Ruin, grabs the seal Chun left behind and successfully escapes unharmed. Zhang ties Chun to the bed and takes off his clothes, which frightens her. However, he quickly claims that he has no interest in her and asks her to relax. Later, Chun uses her hairpin to unlock the cuff. The next morning, she goes to the governor's office as instructed by her father, where she reunites with her servant Ruin, who escaped the massacre the previous night. However, Chun soon learns that Ruin is now pretending to be her in order to marry the governor's son. Ruin injures herself and orders the guards to throw Chun out. Suddenly, the mistress of the mansion appears, disturbed by the commotion. When Chun claims to be the young mistress of the Dang family, the woman demands proof, since no one has ever seen the Dang family's young mistress. Chun looks for the arranged marriage seal to prove her identity but realizes she has lost it somewhere. Unable to prove her claim, the mistress orders her men to throw Chun out. The guards attack her mercilessly. At that moment, the governor's nephew appears. She believes Wei is the kind boy she met in her childhood. Wei is shocked by how rudely they are treating a young girl and demands that Chun be taken inside and given a chance to explain herself properly. Ruin then speaks again, lying that Chun is actually her personal servant who wants to take her place due to her family's financial struggles. Ruin shamelessly convinces the mistress to let Chun stay in the mansion as her personal maid. Inside the mansion, Ruin meets Wei, whom she is now supposed to marry in Chen's place. When Wei asks her strange questions about her family, Ruin is unable to answer and makes excuses. Later, Ruin meets Chen in a dark room and laughs at her miserable state. When Chen asks her to stop pretending to be her, Ruin starts bullying her and even throws her food on the floor, claiming she can do whatever she wants now. She then grabs Chen and forcibly makes her eat the food spilled on the floor. Later, as Chen cries alone, she hears a knock at the door. She opens it and finds Wei, who has brought medicine to treat her wounds. He asks her the same question he asked Ruin, and surprisingly, Chen knows the answer. Wei smiles at her and leaves without any explanation. Chen now believes Wei is a good man and that only he can truly help her. The next morning, she goes to find Wei to tell him her story and seek his help. Instead, she encounters Zhang, who is surprised to see Chen again in his own house. Suddenly, he hears his mother's voice outside the room. To hide Chen, he grabs her, throws her onto the bed, and covers both of them with a blanket. His mother, the mistress of the house, is left speechless by her son's boldness and leaves the room. Chen bites Zhang and slaps him hard. Zhang sits up and refuses to let her leave so easily after hitting him. Enraged, Chen wants to do more than just slap him. Zhang claims he only helped her by hiding her, as maids are not allowed in that part of the mansion. As Chen tries to leave without listening to him, he becomes angry and points his gun at her, ordering her to treat his bite wound immediately or die. At this moment, Chen realizes that Zhang is the man who killed her father. She wants to take revenge, but powerless, she stays silent and does whatever Zhang orders. Zhang smiles at Chen and recalls how they met during their childhood. After tending to Zhang's injury, Chen leaves the room but soon encounters the mistress of the house. Furious that Chen entered the prohibited area and seduced Zhang, she orders her servants to sell Chen to a brothel. Ruin appears and pretends to save Chen from being thrown out of the house, but no one listens. When Zhang arrives and stops them, Ruin takes the opportunity to push Chen down the stairs. Zhang rushes to check on her, but his nephew reaches Chen first. However, Zhang does not allow Wei to touch Chen and takes her away himself. Later, when Chen wakes up, she finds Ruin sitting beside her. Chen seems to remember nothing, as if she has lost her memories. When Zhang says this is exactly what Ruin wanted, Ruin acts surprised. Zhang knows that Ruin pushed Chen and is only pretending to be kind. He orders Ruin to leave. When Ruin hesitates, Wei asks his uncle Zhang to at least respect Ruin, as she is his future wife. Zhang responds that Ruin is only still alive because she is Wei's fiancée. He is surprised that Wei accepted the first woman who claimed to be his fiancée without properly investigating her past, but Wei insists on respecting Zhang's mother's choice. At that moment, Zhang's mother appears, and her servant grabs Chen in front of Zhang. Enraged, Zhang orders the servant to stop. His mother begins explaining the family rules, but Zhang declares that he has already slept with Chen and that she is his woman. She has every right to stay in his room and rest, and except for him, no one is allowed to touch or command her. His mother is furious that he is defying her wishes for a newly arrived maid, but Zhang refuses to change his decision. Meanwhile, Chen wants to take revenge on Zhang for murdering her entire family. Later, Zhang sets new rules for Chen as his woman. She must always be punctual and ready to serve his need. As her master, he can order her to do anything, and she is not allowed to talk back. Finally, if anyone bullies her, she must report it to him so that he can kill them. At the same time, Zhang's fiancé arrives at the house to have tea with Zhang's mother. Ruin seizes the opportunity and tells her that Zhang has publicly acknowledged a maid as his woman despite having a beautiful fiancé. Worried, Zhang's fiancé approaches him. When she asks who the woman beside him is, he introduces Chen as his personal maid. As the fiancé tries to seduce Zhang, Chen quietly leaves them alone. Zhang remains distant, showing no interest in marrying her, while she keeps insisting that they should get married the following month. Zhang clears her misunderstanding by stating that he never chose her. It was his mother's decision, and he has no intention of marrying her. This breaks Ming's heart. Later, Zhang is summoned by his mother, who forces him to kneel before her. Furious that he refuses to obey her, she confronts him about the complaint she received from Ming, stating that Zhang wants to break off their engagement. Zhang responds that he was never willing to marry her in the first place. Zhang's mother reminds him of their sacrifices and insists that he must marry Ming to maintain power and status. Zhang refuses, declaring that he will not sell himself like an object for power, and warns that if she continues to force him, he will leave the family. Enraged, his mother proposes that Zhang marry Ming and keep Chen as a toy for his personal pleasure. Zhang refuses and declares that he will legally marry Chen. Meanwhile, Chen searches Zhang's office, hoping to find evidence of his crimes to expose him to the public. She discovers a locked box and believes the key is the one Zhang always carries with him. That night, she sneaks into his room to search for the key or anything valuable that could be used against him. She finds a gun, but Zhang suddenly appears. Before she can escape, he grabs her and demands to know what she was doing in his bedroom. Just as Zhang is about to kiss her, Chen points the gun at him. Unafraid, Zhang tells her to shoot and kill him. Chen hesitates for a moment, then pulls the trigger in an attempt to take revenge, but the gun is locked. Chen becomes frightened and leaves the room, but her behavior makes Zhang realize that she is only pretending to have lost her memory. Outside the room, Chen meets Wei, who notices her injuries and the red marks on her wrist. He sympathizes with her and takes her away to tend to her wounds. In a gentle tone, Wei assures Chen that he will always protect her from Uncle Zhang. Ruin watches from a distance, filled with envy. Ruin begins plotting something evil and secretly brings a strange man into the mansion. The next morning, the strange man frames Chen by accusing her of plotting Zhang's murder. The mistress of the house orders Chen to be killed, and the servants beat her mercilessly without listening to her pleas. Luckily, Zhang arrives and is confused about why Chen is being punished in his absence. The servants claim that Chen ordered the strange man to poison Zhang's food. However, Zhang refuses to believe such nonsense and insists on interrogating the strange man himself. Although his mother is furious, Zhang ignores everyone and takes the injured Chen to his room. Chen refuses to let him touch her, but Zhang claims he is her future husband and proceeds to treat her injuries. Chen is surprised that Zhang believes she did not try to kill him. Later, Zhang confronts Ruin in her room. Ruin pretends to be confused about why Zhang barged in, but Zhang speaks bluntly. Since he already knows her true identity, he warns her never to touch or plot against Chen again. If Chen gets hurt because of her, Zhang promises to ruin Ruin's life completely. Later, Zhang's junior officer arrives with information about Chen's family. At that moment, it is revealed that Zhang is not the one who killed Chen's family. However, Zhang chooses not to tell Chen, fearing she would recklessly go after the real murderer. The next morning, Zhang takes Chen to an abandoned building where he has been secretly holding the people responsible for plotting against her family. He wants to teach her how to shoot so she can protect herself in the future, but to do so, he forces her to kill those people. Chen becomes furious, calls Zhang the real villain, and points the gun at him. Before she can shoot, his subordinate stops her. The subordinate is confused about why Zhang is taking all the blame instead of telling Chen that she just killed the people responsible for her family's murder. At the same time, a secret agent reports to Wei, revealing that Wei was actually the one who ordered the massacre of Chen's family and is searching for a secret map hidden by her father. When Wei meets Chen again, he notices her fear and asks what happened. Chen tells him that Uncle Zhang forced her to kill people. She cannot understand why Zhang is so cruel while Wei is so kind and gentle, unaware that Wei is her father's true murderer. Wei suggests that Chen find strong evidence to frame Zhang and send him to prison for his crimes. The next day, Chen approaches Zhang, pretending to have prepared a gift for him. While placing the gift into his pocket, she cleverly steals the keys to the mysterious box. When she opens the box later, she finds the seal that could have proven her true identity to the mistress of the house. When Zhang returns home, Chen confronts him angrily, accusing him of hiding the seal so she could never prove her identity and so he could enjoy watching her get bullied. She declares that she will now reveal her true identity to everyone. Zhang calmly tries to stop her and explain that she must keep her identity secret, but Chen refuses to listen. She declares that she will no longer be his maid and goes to tell Wei, only to find Ruin instead. Ruin takes Chen to another room, where Chen reveals that she has been pretending to have memory loss and now plans to expose Ruin with evidence and Zhang as her witness. Later, Chen meets Wei and tells him that she likes him and wants to marry him officially. At the same time, Ruin steals valuable items from her room and runs away from the mansion, exactly as Chen had planned. The next morning, Chen meets the mistress of the house in the presence of Zhang and Wei to prove her royal identity as Wei's true fiancé. At that moment, the guards drag Ruin back into the room. With everyone now aware of her lies, Ruin has no choice but to confess. However, she still refuses to give up easily and insults Chen, claiming she is superior because Chen has been sleeping with Zhang day and night. Her shameless words enrage Zhang to the point that he wants to kill her, but Chen stops him and asks the mistress of the house to spare the life of her half-sister, Ruin. Seeing Chen return to the evil Wei breaks Zhang's heart. He drinks non-stop and later confronts Chen, forcibly kissing her and claiming that she is his woman and cannot marry Wei. Chen pushes him away and declares that she is no longer Zhang's slave. She says that she has loved Wei since childhood and will marry him no matter what happens. At the dining table, Wei asks the mistress of the house to fix a date for his marriage to Chen. Understanding Zhang's pain, the mistress requests Wei to wait until Zhang gets married first, but Wei refuses to waste any more time. Upset, Zhang leaves the table immediately and departs on duty. Meanwhile, Wei sweet-talks Chen into revealing secrets about her family, especially the location of the hidden map. Chen knows nothing about it and is surprised by his questions. Wei claims he wants this information to help catch her family's murderers. Chen then tells Wei that Zhang is the one who most likely killed her family, as she saw him at the scene. Wei pretends to promise her revenge, and says he will help her if she manages to steal a rare seal from Zhang that can control his military army. That same night, Chen sneaks into Zhang's bedroom to look for the seal. At that moment, Zhang enters the room wounded by a bullet. His subordinate treats the injury and leaves. Chen asks the subordinate about the secret seal, and he pretends to be shocked that she knows about it, claiming that the seal should be somewhere in Zhang's room. Unbeknownst to Chen, the subordinate is lying. Later, when Zhang is taken to the hospital for better treatment, Chen sees this as her chance. She enters his room to search for the seal that Wei claims can awaken the army under his command. Suddenly, Zhang appears and catches her red-handed. Chen immediately realizes that this was a trap set by Zhang. Furious, Zhang confronts her for repeatedly ignoring all the times he protected her and for always choosing Wei over him. Enraged, he throws her onto the bed and starts kissing her. At that moment, a seal appears on his body. Zhang reveals that this is the very seal her beloved Wei wants in order to mobilize an army against him. Chen insists that Wei is a good man who only wants to help her take revenge. Later, Zhang's fiancée arrives at the mansion with her father to discuss the wedding. Zhang bluntly declares that he has no intention of marrying his daughter. Enraged and humiliated, the man begins mocking Chen and her family. Unable to endure the insults, Chen leaves the table. As they are about to leave the mansion, gunfire erupts, aimed at killing Chen. Chaos breaks out, and Zhang shields Chen with his body, taking a bullet for her. Zhang collapses to his knees, and his subordinates rush him to his farmhouse to treat his injuries. Overcome with worry, Chen stays by his side and falls asleep next to him. When Zhang wakes up, he is surprised to see how concerned she is. Chen prepares her family's traditional healing tea for him. Her small gestures reveal that she does have feelings for him, though she refuses to admit it. Zhang becomes angry that Chen still foolishly believes he was the one who killed her family. Chen demands that he finally tell her the truth. Before Zhang can convince her, Wei arrives, furious that Zhang is trying to get close to his fiancée, Chen. Zhang sees through Wei's act and warns him not to harm her. Wei tells Zhang to stay away from Chen, claiming he will marry her soon, and leaves with her. Outside, Wei behaves coldly toward Chen, suspecting she has feelings for Zhang. Chen explains that she only cared for Zhang because he saved her the previous night. Back at the mansion, Chen goes to see Ruin, the person she feels closest to. Ruin is surprised that Chen seeks her advice instead of going to the man she claims to like, Wei. Chen admits she feels uncertain and believes Wei has changed. She asks Ruin whether she thinks Wei is a good man. Ruin advises her to ask the one who truly loves her instead, Zhang. She also suggests that Chen may only love Wei because she believes he is her childhood crush, which leaves Chen even more confused. The next morning, Zhang's junior military commander informs him that the assassins were arranged by Wei. Zhang refuses to believe it, insisting that he needs solid evidence before accepting that Wei would harm his own family. Later that day, Zhang secretly summons his fiancée to his farmhouse. Surprised by the sudden attention, she arrives. Zhang gets straight to the point, points a gun at her, and demands that she confess to trying to kill Chen. After hesitating, she admits out of fear that she hired the assassins and that Wei helped her. After returning home, Zhang tells his mother that he wants to marry Chen, stating that Wei does not truly care for her and would never be a good husband. Later, Zhang meets Chen. From her words, he realizes that Chen still believes he killed her family. When she demands the full truth, Zhang hesitates and tells her she must wait for everything to be revealed. That night, Wei meets Ruin. Ruin claims she is pregnant with Wei's child and demands that he marry her. Enraged, Wei threatens her to stay silent or face death. The next morning, Chen learns that Ruin has gone mad overnight due to shock. She rushes to Zhang for help and brings his doctor friend to treat Ruin. When Wei finds out, he becomes furious that Chen sought help from Zhang instead of him, realizing she trusts Zhang more. Later, Chen learns from a maid that Zhang is actually the boy she met years ago and once had a crush on. Before she can process this joy, another maid delivers a letter sent under Wei's instruction. The letter contains an order supposedly from Zhang to kill Chen's family. Devastated, Chen believes it without question. She confronts Zhang and shows him the letter. Heartbroken, Zhang realizes that even after learning he was her childhood savior, she still trusts a piece of paper over the man who has always protected her. Chen refuses to listen, pulls out a knife, and tries to kill him. Zhang steps forward with tears in his eyes, grabs her hands, and forces the knife into his own chest. Zhang's junior officer rushes in and takes him away, leaving Chen behind in tears. The next morning, Chen learns from Zhang's subordinate that Zhang has locked himself in his room and agreed to marry his fiancée. Deeply unsettled, Chen tries to see him, but the subordinate stops her, fearing she might harm him again. Unable to accept Chen's disbelief, the subordinate finally tells her the truth. Zhang only went to her father's house after receiving a report, and he killed those men solely because they were trying to kill Chen. Shattered by the truth, Chen desperately wants to speak to Zhang, but he remains locked inside his room. The next morning, Zhang appears with his fiancée and completely ignores Chen. Chen slowly begins to feel heartbroken and finally admits to herself that she has fallen in love with him. One night, she goes to Zhang's room to check on him, but he becomes irritated and asks her to leave. When Chen refuses, Zhang grows furious and says there is no need for her concern since she is the one who stabbed him. Chen apologizes and insists on staying. She confesses that she likes him, that she has liked him for a long time, and that now she finally has the courage to admit it. Zhang is shocked and happy. He hugs her, kisses her, and they spend the night together. A housemaid informs Wei that Chen went into Zhang's bedroom. The next morning, Chen starts spying on Wei to learn more about him. When Wei leaves the mansion, she sneaks into his office to search for clues and uncover his true nature. Inside a drawer, she finds a diary along with several coded keys. She begins copying them onto a black piece of paper but stops when she hears a sound and quickly leaves. When Wei returns, he senses that someone has tampered with his belongings and checks the drawer. Later, the mistress of the house calls Chen to confront her. She has heard from a maid that Chen visited Zhang and spent the night in his room. Chen does not lie and admits it. The mistress is enraged that Chen dared to sleep with Zhang despite being engaged to Wei. Chen declares that she has been Zhang's woman since the day she entered the house and that Zhang also has feelings for her. The mistress accuses Chen of being bad luck for Zhang and claims she will bring him harm, but Chen dismisses such superstitions. The next day, when Wei leaves the house again, Chen sneaks into his room, opens the drawer, and continues copying the secret diary. After decoding enough symbols, she uncovers a message ordering her family's massacre. Suddenly, Wei appears and realizes she has been spying on him. When he tries to touch her, Chen recoils. Enraged, Wei accuses her of sleeping with Zhang while refusing even to kiss him. He claims he loves her and will not let Zhang take her away, but Chen snaps and says he would never have killed her family if he truly loved her. Wei slaps her and decides to force himself on her. Later, he brings her soup, claiming she needs to stay healthy to be his bride. Chen cannot understand his obsession. Wei reveals that he wants to seize her family's wealth and property to defeat Zhang. When Zhang returns home searching for Chen, he finds Wei waiting for him in her room. Wei declares that Zhang no longer needs to look for Chen because she is now his hostage. He ties Zhang to a chair and reveals that he was the one who killed Zhang's father out of jealousy, because their father favored Zhang. Wei then brings Chen and the mistress of the house to witness his triumph. He stabs Zhang from behind, torturing him as Chen and his mother watch helplessly. Chen cries and begs him to stop, but Wei ignores her, stabbing Zhang again and again. When Zhang struggles to break free, Wei stabs him between the legs. Chen tries to intervene but is held at gunpoint. Suddenly, Ruin rushes in, attempting to kill Wei, but Wei shoots her instead. In her final moments, it is revealed that Ruin had only been pretending to be insane and was plotting to kill Wei herself. Wei moves to remove the sacred seal from Zhang's chest, but before he can, Zhang cuts his restraints with a hidden knife, frees himself, kills Wei's men, and attacks him. Wei fights back with a knife, and they struggle violently. Chen grabs a gun, remembers Zhang's training, and shoots Wei. He collapses to the floor. Chen rushes to Zhang, relieved to see him alive, and they embrace and kiss, unaware that Wei is still alive. Wei weakly raises a gun and aims at Chen, but Zhang shields her and is shot. Terrified and enraged, Chen shoots Wei dead. However, Zhang is now fatally wounded. Chen is devastated, realizing the prophecy has come true and that she has lost Zhang. As he dies in her arms, Zhang asks her to take care of herself and his mother. In the end, Chen gains everything she ever wanted, except the love that only Zhang could give her. Whether she will ever find that love again, only fate can decide.